Hey everyone, it's Josh here. In today's software tutorial, I'm going to be giving you a complete and comprehensive breakdown on how to use, set up, and design your very first Shopify store. Now this video is great for beginners who are looking for a complete and comprehensive guide on how to actually build their very first Shopify store and make it look good. I'm going to be walking you through step by step how to set up your store, getting you more comfortable with the actual design software, and understanding the user interface so that you can have an immaculate looking store by the end of this video. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into everything you need to know about designing and building your very first Shopify store. One quick thing to mention, before we actually get started here, I highly encourage you to go down in the description below and actually use our link so that you can sign up and follow along with this video in real time. Now, just watching this video is going to be good enough on its own, but if you're following along and actually implementing this at the same time that I am, it's going to make it a lot more easy for you to have all the custom settings and designs that are actually set up to make an immaculate Shopify store. So, with that all being said, let's get right back into it. All right, now that we're ready to go here, setting up our very first Shopify store, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to shopify.com, and in the top right-hand corner, click this button that says Start Free Trial. This is going to allow you to start your free Shopify trial, which requires no credit card. And if you actually want to extend it just to test out Shopify a little bit more afterwards, you can extend it for an additional month for only $1. It's a super easy, cheap, and convenient way to get started using Shopify without having any commitments to buying their plans. But if you do want to buy their plans, this is what they look like. You've got your basic, Shopify, Advanced, and Plus plans, and you can look through this and sort out which one is the best for you. Once you hit Start Free Trial and sign up for your account, you should be taken to a screen that looks like this. So great, you're signed up for Shopify and you're ready to go setting up your very first store. You should be on a screen that looks very similar to the one I have now. It says Shopify. Let's get started. Which of the best describes you? I'm just starting, or I'm already selling online or in person. Now we're going to click I'm just starting here and hit next. Where would we like to sell? An online store, an existing website, online marketplaces, in person, or social media? For us, we're going to hit an online store. Next, we're going to say what do we plan to sell first. This is actually very important, and many people take it for granted because depending on whether you're going to be selling digital products in your Shopify store or are going to be selling physical products, Shopify is going to have different options set up for you right off the bat as an optimized way of making your store run better. As you can see here, we've got things like products I buy or make myself, digital products, drop shipping products, because obviously Shopify is a drop shipping platform and many people use it for drop shipping. So this is an option here. We have print on demand products, services, and etc. For us, we're going to say that for the moment, we're actually doing products I buy or make myself. In this case, we're going to be making a clothing brand today. So we're going to hit this button and hit next. The next thing it'll say is where is your business located? For me, I'm going to hit Canada here, but if you're in the US, you'd put in US, and if you're in the UK, UK. You get the point. We can just hit next here. And it's going to say, welcome to the best converting checkout on the internet. And it's actually going to begin building our store. Now, as we get through into this, it's going to be very confusing if you don't understand the user interface, but we're going to get right in, walking you through step by step on how exactly you can set up your store to maximize the potential of your really nice looking store. So this is the first place we're going to get to here, and you'll notice that in the bottom right hand corner, it's going to say your trial just started. Your trial ends on June 14th. Select a plan to get your first month for $1. Now, at this point, I would highly encourage you to actually go into the bottom right hand corner and hit select a plan. We can see here that we have all the basic plans available to us, as I mentioned, for $1. We can see that it's $1 for the first month. We have our basic, Shopify Advanced. Now I should mention here that if you do choose to sign up for this part, it's actually going to sign you up and make sure it's going to renew your credit card when that actually runs out. So making sure you understand the difference between their free trial with no credit card and signing up for this is a key thing. In our case, I'm signed up actually for the basic for solo entrepreneurs. In your case, you'd want to select basic here. And once we click the plan that we want to select, we can either choose to save with yearly billing or choose the payment method. We'd enter our credit card details, etc., and hit subscribe for only $1. Now, I'm going to assume for the moment that you're still in the free trial, but I thought it was just something I should mention. All right, now the first thing that we're going to actually do to set up our store is not what you think it might be. It's not actually going to be the products, but we're actually going to be choosing our store's theme. Shopify has tons of themes that allow you to make and design really nice looking stores with very minimal effort. That's one of the reasons why it's one of the most popular platforms for e-commerce in the world. So we're going to go over to the left-hand side here, and as we can see, we have things like our sales channels, online store, point of sale shop, and up here we have things like home, orders, products, customers, content, etc. Now what we're going to do here is click onto the online store section, and the first tab that's going to pop up with is themes. Now it's going to show us what our current theme is here. By default, it's going to be Dawn, added 2 minutes ago, And until we actually disable it, our store is going to be online password protected. This is to make sure that as you're building your store out, it's not going to have any unexpected visitors who are coming and, buying products when they aren't ready, or maybe you're just testing. It's going to make it so that you are the only one who's getting into your store. Now, if we were okay with the default theme for Dawn, all we would have to do to get started customizing it is go over to the right-hand side here and hit this Customize button. But if we scroll down here, we can also see popular free themes. Shopify actually has tons of third-party people who make themes that are paid. You can pay for a really nice theme. But Shopify also has tons of free ones built in that look just as nice. So as we can see here, we have Dawn by Shopify, Spotlight by Shopify, Refresh, Sense, Craft, and we can actually explore the theme store here, which allows us to browse over 80 free and paid professionally designed themes. So if I click into this here for the moment, we'll just let that load for a second there. We can see that it's actually going to take us to the theme page. And we can see here we have all of these things. So for example, this one, $380 for this theme. But if it makes it so that your store is more trustworthy and more believable and looks really nice, well, it can be worth it paying for a more expensive theme. For our case, we're just going to stick with the free one here with one of the ones that we just saw. So for our purposes today, because I'm going to be building a store that emulates selling physical products, as in shirts, I'm actually going to go down and I'm going to choose the Spotlight one. We're going to hit this Add button here. And once we hit the Add button, it's automatically going to add that theme, install it, and replace Dawn. So we're just going to give it a moment to do that. And once we're ready to go, we can actually hit publish, and then we can begin customizing our theme, where I'm going to walk you through a few key steps that you need to understand when it comes to actually making and designing your Shopify store. Okay, now that we're ready to go here, we're going to go ahead and hit this publish button, and it's going to say that this is going to replace our current theme. So we'll hit publish, and we'll just add that in. And boom, as we can see, it's there and it's ready to go. Let's start customizing it. Hit this customize button here, and this is going to take us into the Shopify editor. And this is going to show you everything you need to actually design and customize your store. By default, this is what it looks like. We can see we have the home page, products, collections, cart, all these things that you would expect to find in an online store. By default, we just have a header and a featured collection, which has some example products. As we can see here with the copyright, My Store powered by Shopify, and the available payment methods that people can actually choose to pay through your store with. Now, you can customize this later as we'll walk through. And if we focus our attention to the left side of the page here, we can see that by default we have our header, and we can actually add sections in here. For the template, we have featured collection, and for the footer, we have branding information, but we can actually add more things here. Now, on the right side of the page, we can see our color scheme. If we actually want to change this, we can hit change, and we can do scheme 2, scheme 3. I'm going to go for scheme 4, just to make it look, a little bit more white and black, have that nice little contrast on there. And we can actually go ahead and hit edit here, and we can see that we can change our background color, our background gradient, what our text color is, and overall set up the color palette for how our actual store is going to look. This is great if you already have a brand in mind for actually setting it up, and how the colors want to just be automatically put on the page without you having to manually enter it in every single time. Now this part, there's a couple more settings here that are available to us, things like email sign up, headings, follow on shop, social media icons, country/region selector. Now you can go through and customize this based on your own store, but let's say for our purposes, I only want people who are in North America to be able to buy my products. Well, in my case, I can see country/region selector are enabled, language selector is enabled, payment methods is enabled. Now obviously the store would look a little bit more professional if we actually had show payment icons here. So we have things like this, as well as spacing, top margin, just is the space between the top of the page. So if I add a greater top margin, so you can see it's putting that footer in there for our top margin. And we've got our padding and things like that. And this is also where we can go to our theme settings and add our specific social icons if we want to actually go ahead and add those. And we can add our image, our headline, our description. So in my case, I'm going to select an image here, and I'm going to go and upload an image of a guy in a blue t-shirt. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added some pictures of guys in blue t-shirts here. So I'm going to select, let's say this one, and we can hit done, and boom, we have our image of the guy in the blue t-shirt. Great. And this is going to be our brand or logo, however we want to put it. And if we want to actually go ahead and remove this, we just hit change and hit remove image here, and that'll go ahead and remove it. But we can also add things in like our headline. For my store today, I'm just going to make a store called the Blue Shirt Men's Club, and we're going to sell blue shirts to men. Keep it as simple as we can. We can see here I can add a description. We sell blue shirts to men. There we go. And we just have this in our footer here. And we can also add some custom CSS, but that's a little bit more advanced. So we're going to actually go back here to the left-hand side, and we can see here that we have our sections, our theme settings, and this is where we can adjust everything related to our theme, this being the logos, colors, typography, layout, animations, buttons, etc., etc. We have complete customization over exactly how our theme is going to look. So if we go to the logo section here, we can upload our logo, a favorite icon. A lot of people don't know that's what fav icon means. It's favorite icon. In your tab for whatever web browser you may be using, if you're on your site, it'll have your website name, but then it'll also have a little icon next to it. So let's say we wanted to upload a picture of that guy in the blue shirt. We can hit select images here, and we'll say this one, and so we'll say, yep, our favorite icon is the guy in the blue shirt. And our logo here, we're just gonna make it this guy in the blue shirt, and we can choose, how big we want it, if we wanna make it smaller, things like that. We'll just put that up there. We can go to the colors here and see what our schemes are. Now, if we actually want to go ahead here and add our own custom theme, we can do that. We can add a new scheme and say, the background, let's make it this color, and we'll make it really blue. We'll give it a real blue vibe here. So we'll go ahead through there. Typography, we can choose what font we actually have. So we have Enter, but we also have a whole bunch of other ones. I want this to feel very elegant in the way that it's set up. And maybe a little bit too elegant. So this here, we'll go ahead and choose layout. We can see what our page width is, animations, and this is the point where we can really go through and completely customize the website to be exactly how we want it to be. So these are all the defaults here, but let's say I actually want to get rid of this default section and I want to add our very first section. And what are we going to actually have in that section? Well, if we go back to the sections tab here, we can actually, under the header, add a new section. And by default, we have the announcement bar and custom liquid. Now, custom liquid is just basically custom code, and announcement bar is something that we can put at the top. So let's add an announcement bar, and we're gonna say, welcome to our store, but I'm gonna rename it here. All I have to do to edit it is click on this here. So if I click on this here on the right side of the page here, we can see welcome to our store, and we're gonna say, let's say summer sale on now. So we can put a little bit of text on there. It says summer sale on now, 20% off blue shirts. And we can also add another section here. And under the apps thing, we can actually add sign in with shop button. Shop is a great way for people to easily put their payment details in if they're shopping on multiple websites, so you can add that to your store. There's tons of cool things that make it so that it's much easier for people to put in their payment details and for you to get a conversion on whatever product you happen to be selling. So let's adjust our collection here, and we can see that by default we have the example product title. So I'm gonna put some details in here for our collection. We're gonna say most popular, not men's, we'll just say blue t-shirts. We're going to put the heading size at medium. We can put in a little bit of description here. We'll say the best of the best, for example, and show collection description from the admin. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is a collection? Well, a collection is, as it sounds, it's a collection of products. If you have collections of products that are, say, for the summer or for the winter, or you have boots or socks or shirts, you can create different collections that have different rules on them, and that actually allows you to more so customize and categorize where your products are shown. Say, for example, you have one part of your page that you want to show off, the most popular things in the blue shirt category, for example, if we actually make that as a collection. Well, you can do that. And you have a lot of customization over when and where your products are going to be shown. If I go through here, we can see that by default we don't have any collections set up, so I'll show you how to make them in a minute. And we can show the maximum number of products to show in that collection. So let's say here, for the most popular blue t-shirts, I only want it to be the top 3. For example, there's four shirts here. I only want the top 3 shirt. I want the best of the best. And the number of columns on desktop, I'll tone it down to 3. So there we go. Now we have the most popular blue t-shirts, the best of the best, and then our 3 example products. And we can also choose to make the products full width and enable view all if the collection has more products than shown. This basically allows it so that if there's more products than just this, people can go and view more of the most popular products. We have our color scheme set up here, our image shape, we have tons of customization options for that. We have our image ratio, and then we have the ability to actually choose how it looks on mobile. Now, for the number of columns on mobile, I'm just going to set it as 1 column, make it very simple. And we have the ability to, again, adjust our sections, padding and margins. So for that, we're not going to go too far into the padding and margin side of things. We're just going to focus on the overall design of our store to try and create an example of what a Shopify store might look like, especially a beginner one. For this here, I obviously want to show that these are the most popular items. So I'm actually going to select show product rating here. So it'll have a little 5 stars next to it if a lot of people are rating it well, as it would be if it was the most popular. And we can have quick add, for none, standard, bulk. But let's assume for the moment that this is a good collection we have set up, which is the most popular blue t-shirts. And this is a solid homepage. we can go ahead and add another section here, and we have tons of things like, slideshows, collages, multi-columns. So let's say for this next part, we have our most popular blue t-shirts. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of things here. So we're going to add the collections on next to it. So let's say we have our blue long sleeve t-shirts, blue short sleeve t-shirts, blue tank tops, for example. We can add in another section here underneath that that's going to say featured product. And I'll just go ahead and add in a bunch of different sections here that we can go and customize later. So now we've got a whole bunch of different things so that when you come to the store, we can see most popular blue t-shirts. We've got our logo set up. We've got a little banner here at the top. We've got our shopping cart and our search bar. And we have our most popular blue t-shirts, the different collections of t-shirts, an example product that we want to show off, and just a whole bunch of row of different products and text. And now we can actually leave this as blank because for the most part, you're going to have the ability to go through and customize all of this. If I want to click on these individual sections, as we can see here on the right, I can add specific images. So let's add some different blue t-shirts here, just so that we can get this looking a little bit more filled out. So we'll go ahead and add some blue t-shirts here for these. All right, so now we have a basic homepage set up for our Shopify store. Now what comes next? Well, obviously for this part, we have a whole bunch of default products here and default collections and, just a couple pictures in here, but it's now time to create our very first product. So all we're going to do here is either navigate back to the section where we can actually see our products, or if we hit this example product, we can actually see on the right-hand side of the screen that anywhere that we can actually add a product in or add a collection is going to allow us to create that thing. So if we click on the collection name here, we can say select collection, and if there's none, we can create a collection, or we can actually go to the product section here, say select product, and hit create product. Just a quick note here before we continue on and go ahead and create our first product, make sure you go ahead and hit the save button in the top right hand corner so you actually save the design of your store. I forgot and I have to go and redesign it, so make sure you don't make the same mistake as me and actually save your store design. All right, so I'm going to hit create product here, and it's going to take us into the new page where we're actually going to go ahead and create our first product. So I'll say, short sleeve blue t-shirt. All right, so now that we're on here, we have short sleeve blue t-shirt set up, the most blue t-shirt. As we can see, Crambly's already starting to correct all my stuff. We'll just say the blue t-shirt. We'll say the classic blue t-shirt. We'll say the classic blue t-shirt, and we can go ahead and upload a new image here or select existing. For our purposes, we're gonna pick what's actually in the logo, and we're gonna have that. We can add multiple images here or choose what the ratio is, how they're cropped, etc. And so let's say for the moment that this is good, we can choose our pricing, and I'm going to price this blue t-shirt at $19.99, for example. And we have the ability to select whether we want to charge tax on this product, and we can compare it at the price. So this is basically going to be if you want to have it on sale. So let's say, for example, I sell this t-shirt normally for $29.99, but we want to show it on sale for $19.99. As we can see here, by putting a higher compare at price, it's actually going to show that $19.99 is a sale price for this product. And we can also put in our cost per item here so we can understand our markups, because Shopify has tons of integrated tools for actually managing how profitable our store actually is. So let's say it costs me $2.99 for this shirt with a profit of $17. We have an 85% profit margin, which is pretty good, even though it might be not that much on a t-shirt. We can actually track the quantity here, and we can actually have the shop location. So for the quantity, let's say I have 100 of these t-shirts to sell. We also have the ability to actually choose whether to continue selling when out of stock. That basically means that if you reach 0 on your stock for the store and automatically somebody comes to your site and they want to go purchase the shirt, if they see a sold out symbol, it would be because this is unticked. But if you want them to still be able to make purchases, you might just get it to them a little bit later, then you would go ahead and check this box. So in our case, we don't want to actually go ahead and sell any more t-shirts than we have at the moment. So we're going to untick that. And we can also add a SKU or barcode so that we can keep track of exactly what this product is in our own internal databases. Now, we also have the ability to choose our shipping information here, and that's basically going to make it so that we can calculate what the weight of our shipment is and allow us to calculate the proper shipping costs when we're charging whoever is purchasing our shirts from our store. So let's say, for example, we have pounds, ounces, kilograms, grams. We'll say each shirt is about a quarter of a pound. Let's say these are some heavy shirts. And we can go ahead and add our customs information on here as well. And we can also add things like variants. So we can add options on size and color. So let's say we have 3 sizes here, small, medium, and large. We can also add things here like color. In our case, we're going to say light blue. So we've got some variants here set up. So we have small, medium, large, And for the colors, we have light blue, dark blue, and baby blue. And we can see what we actually have for the pricing for each of these shirts. Now, obviously, if you want them to be different prices, depending on whether it's small, medium, or large, that's entirely up to you. You can make that customization here. And for each unique variant, we're gonna actually put in what the available quantity is for each of these. So let's say we have 100 of each, for example. So I'll put on 100 of each. So now that we've got our variants set up, we can see here that I have 100 of the light blue shirt in small, I have 100 of the light blue shirt in medium, and 100 of the light blue shirt in large, and we can see that our quantity is being tracked here so that if the actual product sells out, then we don't want to be charging any more. That is unless, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we continue selling when out of stock. And we can also see what it might look like in a search engine here. But at this point, I've got a pretty simple product setup. We also have on the product organization just a way for us to calculate and manage the actual storage of our product, just in case we have a ton of products in the store. It makes it a lot easier to manage. So we can see her product type. We can just put in, we'll say t-shirt, vendor, Josh, and we can add different vendors here who we're getting our t-shirts from, that sort of thing. I can add the vendor as Josh. And for collections, we don't have a collection set up yet, so we can add that to one in a little bit here. And then tags, we can say blue and t-shirt. And so we can have different tags to categorize what sort of products are. So say, for example, you wanted to have a new summer collection for anything that had the tag of shorts. Well, you could do that. Just go and search in your collections when we're creating that for shorts, and you'll be able to do that. But of course, you have to have that tag already set up on your product. So it's very good to get started in the habit of that, just so that later down the line, when you're actually setting up your huge store with a ton of products, it makes it a lot easier to manage the organization of it all. And all right, I think we got a pretty good product setup here. Short sleeve blue t-shirt, the classic blue t-shirt. It's all set up properly into the right category. As we can see, it's automatically given it the category of t-shirt, but we can actually go ahead and add different things on here for our category. We've got our pricing, shipping, our different variants here, and what the quantities are for each of those. And we can go ahead and hit save here. And all right, once we hit save here, this product is going to be available in our store. So now, great, we've got our first product. So again, if we want to navigate back to the store page here by going to online store and actually going to the customize section for Spotlight. All right, now that we're back on the store page here, we can actually go ahead and start customizing this further. So as we can see here, we've got our example product title. So let's actually go ahead and select that product that we just created, the short sleeve blue t-shirt. And if we select that here, we can see automatically Shopify set up the image here, short sleeve blue t-shirt. We have the vendor information at the top here. We can show that it's actually on sale from $29.99. It's actually on sale for $19.99. We have the different options available to us for the variants: small, medium, large, light blue, dark blue, baby blue. And if we actually click on each of these individual sections, which you can also see on the left-hand side, we have the ability to choose how it looks. So if we don't want to have these buttons here, we actually want to have drop downs, make it look a little bit nicer. We can choose that, and we'll swatch for circle. We can do square or none. We can just enable that, and that's just basically what it actually is for the colors. For the quantity selector, we don't have any customization options here, and for the buy button, we can see it says buy it now. And we also have the ability to have a dynamic checkout button that's available. Customers like that preferred option. So for example, if you want to have people automatically have their preferred option like PayPal or Apple Pay available, that can be enabled on there just by having this checked. And we can also show recipient information for gift cards. Now, I'm assuming for this point you don't have gift cards, so we don't have to worry about that right now. All right, so we've got that on here. And then in our featured collection here, we don't have a collection set up yet, so I'll leave that for just a moment. And we can go ahead and add some more details here. I'm just gonna go ahead in the top right-hand corner and hit save. And we can actually go ahead and create our very first collection. Now, as I mentioned earlier, having your products stored by collections is a great way for them to actually ensure that they're able to view it by what they're interested in. If they want to view the shorts collection, for example, or the t-shirts collection, or long sleeve t-shirts, for example, you could do that. You can just make the products, add them to a specific collection, and you can actually have different options, as we can see here, the featured collections, to actually go through and select different products. Now for this, we actually don't have a collection set up yet, so if I click on this featured collection, it's gonna say, okay, well, what featured collection do you want? And if I select collection, we can see we don't have one, so let's make one. And we'll go ahead and hit this create collection button here, and we can see we have summer collection, under $100, staff picks. So as I said earlier, we can go ahead and create our most popular for our collection. We can add in our details here. We can see here we have our collection, most popular, the best of the best of the best, and we can choose to automatically have existing and future products that match the conditions we set automatically be added to that collection, or manually add the products as we see fit. Now, if I hit automated here, we can see that if a product tag is equal to, let's say, for example, blue, all of them will go into that collection. Now, this is why I mentioned earlier that actually adding tags onto your products as you're creating them is a very important and underrated thing. Because at this point, if you've gone ahead to all of your products that, say, for example, are shorts, and you've added, shorts as the tag on there, we can make it so that for this collection, any product that matches the product tag of shorts can automatically be added into the shorts collection. That saves you a lot of time from going through and manually adding every single one to every single category. Now, for our purposes, we're just going to go ahead and hit manual here because we only have the one product, and we can actually choose our image or drop an image to upload. So we can see here it's on all our sales channels. We have the default collection, and we just have most popular, the best, the best, the best. So great, I'll go ahead and hit save here. And now that we have our collection automatically created, we can actually add our products. So we can choose to sort them by best selling or just hit browse here. And because we only have one product set up right now, we're going to choose short sleeve blue t-shirt and we'll hit add. And now in this collection, we have our short sleeve blue t-shirt and that is active. So that's great. We also have the ability to delete the collection down here or save the collection if we make any changes. But I think what we want to do is actually go on to our next step. Now, if you actually want to add more products or more collections later down the line, all you have to do is from the home page, go to the left-hand side and you'll see products. And if you click on that, you can see your products right off the bat. But we can also see our collections, inventory, purchase orders, transfers, and gift cards. So on the product screen here, let's say I want to go ahead and add a new product. All we have to do is go to the top right-hand corner, hit add product, and we'll be right back in our screen creating our new product. I'm going to navigate back to our online store here. And we'll go over back to here to Spotlight and hit Customize. And now we're back in the designer. So now as we can see, we have our featured collection. And the one we're going to select here, if we hit Select Collection, is Homepage, which is not the one, is Most Popular. So if we hit Most Popular here, so now that we have our Most Popular as our featured collection, we can see here, because we just have the one product set up, we just have the one product. But as we have set up by our design and customization, we have the maximum products to show as 3, the maximum number of columns on desktop as 3 as well, and we can also make it so that there is a View All button if the collection exceeds the 3 products that we're showing on the homepage. So great, we're really pushing this one shirt here. We've got it in the logo, we've got it as a featured collection, we've got the specific shirt that we're highlighting, and then down here we have just some more details about it, maybe a button that navigates us to somewhere else. So say for example, if we want to have this button navigate to somewhere, we can go down here and put in the actual button link. Let's say for example, you want to navigate somebody from a specific product, let's say for this blue t-shirt, and want to have it be taken directly to that product page, not just have it be on the home page here. We have that customization option available to us, and we can do that. All right, now that we've got our store relatively set up with our blue t-shirts, our collections, and a little bit of the theme settings adjusted, let's go ahead and add in a few things in our header and footer that will really make them pop. So if you'll recall, all we have to do to actually go and add things to our header is navigate to the header section up here, where we can actually go ahead and add blocks. We have blocks, obviously none available for this section, and apps like sign in with shop button. So if we want to actually add that to our top page here, sign in with shop button, we see it's added in the top right hand corner here. And we also have the ability, as we did earlier, to add our announcement bar. But what I'm specifically talking about here is making it so we have more customization in our header and our footer. As you might recall, if we go ahead and click on the header here, we can easily get into our header details, showing what the logo position is, what menu we want to have, what the menu type looks like. We have drop down or mega menu or drawer. On sticky header, we have on scroll up. Different customization options here that allow us to make the header much more intuitive for both mobile and desktop. We can adjust our top padding. So let's say, for example, that's way too big of a header. I want to really shrink that thing down. And we'll say bottom padding small and top padding small. And then we can also see in our theme settings here for the cart type, for the pop-up notifications, we can add, social media icons, what the vertical offset is, and I can just bring that all the way down just so that we don't have that on the top part. We can actually choose to increase our logo width. So say we wanted to have a massive logo here, we could do that. That's way too big. We'll cut that down. Or if we wanted to add any custom code in here, if you know how to do that, we have that available to us in the custom CSS tab. Going down to our footer now, all we have to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page here and click on our footer, and we have our footer options available to us automatically. We have a thing that says email sign up, where subscribers are automatically added to your accepted marketing customer list. Now, a lot of sites have this, but they have no formal newsletter. I always encourage you just to click on that just so that you have somebody's email. But in the case that it looks a little bit too bulky like this, I'm just gonna uncheck that box. We also have follow on shop, which is a great way for people to easily put in their payment details and follow their favorite stores and creators online. We have social media icons, and if we check that, obviously we can actually see that our social media icons aren't popping up right now because we haven't actually put in any links, but if we did, then they would show up at the bottom of our footer. As I mentioned earlier, making sure that actually having your payment options available here is a great way to build trust with the consumers that are coming to your website, because obviously if you're making a new website from scratch with a new brand name that nobody's ever heard of, it's going to be hard for people to trust your Shopify site immediately. And if you have things at the bottom here that show all the different ways that you accept payment, it builds just a little bit more trust. And again, we can choose to shrink down our top padding and bottom padding. Say I want a really small header and footer. I just want people to focus on the t-shirts, and we can go ahead and add in our theme settings here. In addition to that, we can also add in a couple images, our headline, our description, and some custom code. But for me, I'm pretty good with that. Another thing that I should mention here is that you actually have the option to view the different modes in which your website could be viewed. So say, for example, we're on desktop right now, but if we click over to here, we can actually see mobile. This is what our site is going to look like on somebody's phone. And if we hit this here, this gets us to full screen. So putting aside all of the different menus and bars that we have available while we're actually designing the site, and we're going to see just what the site would look like on our screen. And to bring it back, all you have to do here is click on another view like desktop, and there we go, we're back in here. And now we have customized our store to be, what would actually look like a real store. Obviously, in your store, you would have a lot more products on here than just the one t-shirt. You also have the ability to go through in your theme settings here and adjust your typography, your media, your drop downs and pop-ups. For example, let's say I wanted to have some animations. We could show reveal sections on scroll, which is where your sections are invisible until you actually scroll down into them. We have things like that for hover effects, for vertical lifts. So say I hover over a button or something, it actually would have, some sort of hover effect on it if I was actually on the real site. And we have different options here to basically make it so that our site can be designed and customized to be exactly how we want it to be. I highly encourage you to go through and actually click around in these different sections and see how you can make it work for you. There's so many options here that we're not going to go through the whole process of explaining the monotony of every single customization option here, but just know that in your theme settings, every single one is going to be a little bit different depending on what theme you're choosing. Some themes have more than others, such as the paid ones that we mentioned briefly at the beginning of this video, but there are so many options here to actually go ahead and customize your site to make it look the way you want it to look so that your site is trustworthy and converts well. All right, rounding things off here, we're going to go over to our store settings, because right now if we scroll to our footer, we can see that it says My Store. Now that's not obviously a very compelling store name, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that everything is saved by hitting that save button in the top right, and we'll go back here by hitting exit. And now we can go down to our store settings, which we are on here. We have themes, view your store, we have our blog posts, our pages. So if we actually want to add more pages than just the home screen, for example, we can actually go ahead and do that by hitting add page here and then going and designing it the same way that we just did on the other side. And then we have things like navigation, actually setting up our menu, because right now we just have the main menu, which has home, catalog, and contact, and the footer menu, which has search, but you can actually go ahead and add different pages and different menus from the screen. And in the preferences tab here, we just have a few key details, such as, things that are going to be showing up in search engines, what's going to be shown when somebody shares something on social media, what your Google Analytics are, if you're going to be hooking it up to Google Analytics to see how many people are coming to your site, installing a Facebook pixel, if you know what that means, and your password protection to actually disable it when you're ready for your store to go fully live. Coming back to the home screen here, as we can see from our setup guide, we've got add our first product, customize our online store, add our custom domain, but we also have our store settings on here. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is actually set up Shopify payments. If somebody makes a purchase on our site, we should be able to get paid. So if we hit this button here that says go to Shopify payments, it would actually allow us to set up a custom bank account that the money's obviously going to go to, and make sure that everything is set up financially for people to make purchases on our site. The next thing here, of course, after we've set up our Shopify payments, is actually naming our store. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got our store name, which is just, my store. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added our store name here, the Blue Shirt Men's Club, and our store phone, as well as our store email. And we'll just go ahead and hit save here. And we can see from this screen, we have a ton of different options available to us to actually customize our store. We have our store details here, such as our currency, time zone, and then as well as everything else we need to actually manage the logistics of our store, such as what plan we have on Shopify, what our billing actually looks like, what are the users that have access to our site, what our payments are. As we can see here, I actually haven't set up Shopify payments yet. Our checkout process, what the customer contact method is, if we send them an email afterwards, all those juicy settings that actually allow us to make our store real. Shipping and delivery, a very important one here, actually choosing where we ship to, how much we charge for shipping. If we do free shipping for certain items over a certain dollar amount, those sort of juicy details and customization, the expected delivery dates, showing people those sort of things, tons of things here. And actually, Shopify sometimes actually connects to local delivery places. In my case, it's Canada Post and UPS that actually allow us greater discounts if we actually ship through them, because Shopify has partners through different shipping companies. Logistics like taxes and duties. How much are we actually going to be charging people if they're buying from a different country? What countries do we actually sell our products to? Our locations, if we offer gift cards, markets, apps and sales channels, our custom domains. Say we don't want to have our store be xyz.shopify.store.com. We actually want a professional looking domain. How do we set that up? Our customer events, what happens when somebody clicks on something, a little bit more intricate. We're going to leave that for this video. Our branding details, adding our logo on our website, adding our square here, what our colors are, what our cover image is, our slogan, those sorts of things. We have our notifications here for when we're actually getting details that somebody's purchased a product from our store. Other details like what languages we have available to us, as well as policies for our store for people to look through, like return policies, those sorts of things. We also have a customer privacy section here, which actually allows you to add a privacy policy, which again is more so to build trust with your potential customers, making sure that they see that you have things like return policies, privacy policies as a real store. And then finally, the store activity log, we can see who changes what, just so that you have an idea of who's running your store. And then on the setup guide on the right-hand side here, the last steps we actually need to launch our online store are to place a test order just to see how our system and our store actually handles setting up and purchasing a product. And finally, once we're good to go, we've got the test product done, our store is set up and ready to go. And the final step here, removing your store password. Now, this is the final step because once you do this, your site is effectively live to the world. Anybody who's going to go to the URL for your site is going to be able to purchase products from you. So at this point, you would have placed your test order, made sure that the whole process actually worked accordingly. You've had your shipping stuff set up, you've connected your payments, you've gone through the whole process of customizing and designing your very first Shopify store, and you're ready to unveil it to the world. And bam, you've got your first Shopify store. This video is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many themes and different apps that you can add here. If I just click on the add apps on the left-hand side, we have things that are picked for us: Printful, on demand, product reviews. We have, tons of print options. And if we actually go to the Shopify App Store, we're gonna see tons, literally thousands of different apps and themes that we can actually build in to actually make our Shopify experience run smoother. We have things like point of sale, Google and YouTube, Shopify search and discovery. Now, these are tons of options that are available to us, but there are literally thousands for us to choose from. We have things like Smile, loyalty and rewards, dropshippers, AliExpress dropshipping, tons of different apps that automatically connect directly with our store to make the whole experience of running it much, much smoother. It's safe to say that we can see why Shopify is one of the best e-commerce platforms in the world. It truly has everything for beginners to create, design, and build their very first online e-commerce store. Everything we covered in this video today gave you the basic fundamental understandings of how to actually build your own Shopify store, designing it to be the way that you want it to be, creating your first product, your first collection, setting up your products and adding them to those collections, putting them on your site, and understanding all of your theme settings. Hopefully, everything I've given you in this video has given you the ability to go through the user interface with a lot more certainty in designing it to be the way that you want it to be. And now, the only thing left for you to do is to go ahead and make your very first sale. I wish you the best of luck in your Shopify journey, and I hope everything in this video gave you all the tools you need to hit the ground running. So, as always, my name is Josh Mountain. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.